every single cowherd boy, he completely imitated his mannerisms, his color, his special features. If that cowherd boy had a little mark on his forehead, like we all remember our dear Tamal Krishna Maharaj's mark on his forehead, then that expansion also had mark on the forehead, whatever color he was. If he had some special mannerism, it was like he always going like this. So that cowherd boy, he also going like that. And Krishna expanded as all the calves. Whatever colors they had, whatever marks they had, whatever, everything. And he came back to Nandagaon with all the cowherd boys and calves like that. But all the cowherd boys and calves were actually Krishna himself. Now it's described in Srimad Bhagavatam that Brahma, he went away for a moment, but a moment of his time, because Brahma's on a different time scale. It's like Einstein's got his theory of relativity, so this is relativity in action. He thought it was a moment, but on the earth, 1 year passed. But that means those calves became big. After 2 or 3 months, they became big. They no longer ate milk, they were eating grass. And who were their calves? They were Krishna himself. This is such a dham, the Lord was eating the grass of this holy dham. You won't find anywhere in the universe, you can go anywhere in the universe, you won't find a dham where Krishna was eating the grass. The grass is also covered with dust. And calves are very greedy, they'll rip it up by the roots, so much dirt is coming. So for 6-8 months, Krishna was definitely eating the dust of this holy dham. The grass and the dust of this holy dham. No other dham like this. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. So this is a wonderful place where you've all come, where those who have the eyes to see, Radha Krishna's pastimes are still going on today. It's not that this is just 5,000 years ago. We're just like blind people, we're just stumbling over all these wonderful holy places, we don't see what's going on. But all these places are still going on, all these leelas are still going on. So we welcome you to this wonderful Sri Vrindavan Dham. So where did you go today? What's the first one? Kaliyagat. You went to Kali. Did you go through our Goshala on the way to Kaliyagat, or just straight down the Prikrama Marg? You went to the Goshala. All right.
We went to Goshala, then Baba went to Radha Damodar, Radha Raman, and Radha Gokulananda.
Not Madan Mohan?
And Madan Mohan, some of them went.
Kaliyagat?
Kaliyagat. Then we also walked across Rishi Ghat, took Yamuna water, then we came back.
Okay. So this Goshala was established by Srila Prabhupada himself. He was very worried, even though this is the land of Vrindavan, of cows, Krishna and the cows, very difficult even here to get cow's milk. And Prabhupada was very concerned that about his disciples' health, because he wanted them to get real cow's milk. So, because you may know the carrier of Yamaraj is the buffalo. So Prabhupada said drinking buffalo milk means calling death. So there was one fellow from your Mumbai named Taparia. He had a piece of land just like about 2 rounds of, not even if you chant 1 round, you'll get to the Goshala. You follow this path. You went there today, so you saw it's very close by. So the original inside Goshala, where all the buildings are, that was donated by Mr. Taparia. Later the outside part was acquired later, a couple of pieces. And they got some cows. So this Goshala was established by Srila Prabhupada. And when you go buy your Mahaprasad from the Mahaprasad stall, all those milk sweets are from the milk from Bhaktivedanta Swami Goshala and Gardens. Now we have over 300, between 300 and 400 animals are there, cows, calves, bulls, everything together. Then you walk down the Prikrama Marg from our Goshala, you come to Kaliyagat. What happened was there was one Rishi named Sobari Rishi. If you go backwards down the Prikrama path, you'll come to a place called Sanrak. In Sanrak, you'll find the ashram of Sobari Rishi. And Sobari Rishi was a very powerful yogi. So powerful, he was meditating under the water. We were doing our bhajan in the air, but he was doing his bhajan under the water. But he was disturbed because sometimes Garuda would come to this part of the Yamuna and eat the fish. Although Garuda is a great Vaishnava, this is one of the mysteries, he's a bird, so he eats fish. So he got disturbed by Garuda taking the fish from the Yamuna, so he cursed him that if you take any fish from here, you will die. Now, he was a great yogi, but he wasn't necessarily a devotee, so he couldn't understand the exalted position of Garuda. He couldn't understand the exalted position of Vaishnava. Now we've come to Vrindavan, we should be very careful not to commit any Vaishnava aparad. He committed aparad to Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. Because that aparad, even though he was such a powerful yogi that he could meditate under the water, he lost all of his spiritual potency. In fact, he saw the fishes enjoying sex life, so he became a little agitated. If we offend Vaishnavas, then we lose our enthusiasm. We lose our enthusiasm, we get, especially by money and sex life, we get disturbed. So he came out of the water and he went to the king. I've forgotten the king's name. Mandaka, all right. Yes. And he said, you have 50 daughters, I want to marry one. Now you know what happens if you've ever washed dishes for a long time, what happens to your hands after a while, huh? They get sort of whitish and wrinkly and look very ugly. Now this guy was meditating under the water for thousands of years. You can imagine what he looked like. Now the king, he didn't want to get cursed by denying him. But kings are not kings for no reason. They're very smart, they're very clever. So he said, yes, whichever one of my 50 daughters wants to marry you, you can marry. So by this diplomatic answer, Subari Rishi could understand the situation. He understood this diplomatic answer. So then, because he still had some mystic power, he made himself very handsome. So handsome that all 50 girls wanted to marry him. So we already know what trouble it is to maintain one wife. Now he has to maintain 50 wives. So you have to be very careful about Vaishnava aparad. He fell down in the deep dark well of household life, not just one time, 50 times. So anyway, this part of the Yamuna was protected by Garuda's curse, so therefore there was a big lake that stretched from Sanrak all the way up to Kaliyagat. And that lake was known as Kaliya Daha. This very horrible serpent named Kaliya took refuge here because he was safe. Because we know Garuda, he also likes to eat snakes. But because he was very poisonous, from Sanrak down to Kaliyagat and beyond, because the river was flowing this way, everything beyond that lake itself became poisonous, and the backwater of Yamuna became extremely poisonous. So poisonous that all the plants and trees, everything had dried up and died. Now you saw that one huge old Kadamba tree, and I've never seen one so big at Kali Yuga. There's two stories in the Puranas about that tree, because they say that this is eternal Kadamba tree. Now some Puranas say that because Krishna jumped on this tree, we'll hear in a minute, and touched it with his lotus feet, he became immortal, Amar. Some Puranas say that Garuda knew that Lord will later come, so when he snatched the pot of nectar from the demons, he dropped one drop on that tree. So since 5 million years ago, it's been immortal. So either it became immortal when Krishna touched it, or from 5 million years ago he got immortal. This is a immortal banyan tree. And the Brishvadis tell me, because you saw, they say that it's eternally rejuvenating itself. You saw that tree, there was a huge, looked like a huge branch. Well, the Brishvadis, that was the old tree. The old tree is falling down, you saw it's already half broken. And new tree has come up behind, then one will come down, another one will come up behind, and it goes on eternally rejuvenating. That's what the Brishvasis told me. It's not in Srimad Bhagavatam, but the Brishvasis told me that. So anyway, Krishna and the cowherd boys, they were having fun with all the calves. And they came they were playing all day. And you know when you're playing, then you get very, very thirsty. So they were very thirsty, and they came to that place, to the Kaliya Ghat, and they saw the cool waters of Yamuna. And they thought, let us refresh ourselves. And they all went down. I can remember when I first came to Vrindavan in 1974, we used to drink the water from Yamuna. Now we're afraid to even look at it, what to speak of drink at it. So we invite all of you to go to saveyamuna.org, saveyamuna.org, and sign the petition to bring Yamuna back to Vrindavan. Saveyamuna.org. Because now Kaliya has appeared in the form of industrial pollution. Kaliya has come back to the Yamuna. So anyway, all the cowherd boys, they went down, the cool black waters of Yamuna were there, they drank the water, the calves drank the water, and everyone died. Because this water was so poisonous that even if a bird flew over it, he would fall down dead just from the fumes of the water. So Krishna saw all the calves and cowherd boys had died. Immediately he glanced over them. And he brought everyone back to life with no memory of what had happened. Now we read sometimes about somebody performing some miracle and bringing one person back to life. But Krishna brought thousands of cowherd boys and thousands of calves back to life. How? Just by his merciful glance, just by glancing over the cowherd boys, they all came back to life. Then he realized that this was the work of Kaliya. So he climbed up in that Kadamba tree that you saw there, and he jumped on a big branch, and he flopped his arms, and he jumped in the Yamuna, began to swim, making a lot of splashing noise. So Kaliya was disturbed by this noise. He's disturbed by this horrible noise. So he said, who's coming and disturbing my sleep? So he came up out of the water and he saw Krishna swimming there. And with his coils, he wrapped Krishna up in his coils. And Kaliya had many, many heads with beady yellow eyes, and with all his eyes and all his hoods, he was staring very enviously at Krishna. And all the cowherd boys, and they saw Krishna wrapped up in the coils of Kali in the middle of the Yamuna like that. They became so frightened. At that time, the earth began to shake. Meteors were seen even in the daylight. Jackals began to howl. Everybody saw these these inauspicious signs, all the Brishbasis ran down to the Yamuna because they saw these inauspicious signs can only mean something's happened to our Lala. So they all came running down. They saw Krishna wrapped in the coils of Kaliya. Mother Yasoda, she wanted to run into the water to save Krishna, but Balaram prevented her. He said, just a little water snake. He's not going to do anything. ये छोटा सा पानी सांप है, क्या करेगा? So, but Yasoda fainted. For 2 hours, Krishna remained wrapped in the coils of Kaliya like that. All the Brishbasis were just on the edge of life. They were, because Krishna was their life and soul. When we have something every day, we take it for granted, we forget its value. But if we lose something, then we lament like anything. If we're about to lose something, we're lamenting, we're about to lose something, then we really, every day we see, we don't care. But we're about to lose, then we suddenly care. Just like all my godbrothers, one by one, they're leaving us. So we should care for them now. Not wait, he was so nice, Vaishnava, why didn't we get association of him while he was here? So all the Brishbasis, they were seeing Krishna's going to be finished off by Kaliya. Finally, their life air was about to leave their bodies. When Krishna realized that the Brishbasis were about to leave their bodies, then he just slipped out of the coils of Kaliya and he jumped on his head, one of his heads. And he began to dance and kick that head. And Kaliya raised another head to bite him. And he kicked that head that he was on and jumped on top of that head. Then he danced on that one and kicked it, and another one came. In this way he was dancing on top of the heads of Kaliya. Now we have any girls here learning dance? Nobody's learning dance? It's like we have so many girls in our community here learning Odissi dancing. There's one very expert teacher. Or just like in your Bombay, you have this Hema Malini, very expert dancer. Now you ask Hema Malini, does she want a stage that's firm and steady? Or does she want a stage that's moving up and down? Krishna was dancing on a stage, not only was moving up and down, but of course you probably never touched the snakes, but I like to play with harmless snakes. They're very slick, and especially this one is wet. You ask Hema Malini if she wants to dance on a wet stage. Wet, slick stage. That's moving up and down. And Krishna was dancing so expertly that even Lord Brahma with his 4 heads, he was astounded. He couldn't understand the rhythms of Krishna's dance. Even Nataraj, Lord Shiva, he was so bewildered by seeing Krishna's dancing and dancing on such a stage like this. And fire was coming out of Kaliya's mouths. And he was trying to kill Krishna. Krishna was just dancing with fire all around and things like this. Finally, Krishna was battering his head so much, black smoke was coming out. In fact, I don't know anything from Shastra, but anyway, the Brishbasis, they told me that's why Krishna is black, from the smoke from Kaliya. Just like your Binod Agarwal, he sings, Na bata dikhana tera rang kala kyun मैं खाली नाग नचाया रे इसलिए मैं काला हूँ. So the Brishbasis say that that's why Krishna is black. Anyway, then he began to vomit up all this black poison. All the envious, because he was envious, snakes are envious, without any reason they bite. All the envious poisons he vomited up, black smoke was coming, he was totally finished. And then all the Nagapatnis appeared, all his wives. And they began to pray to Krishna that please save our husband, please don't make us widows, please save our husband. We don't know what he's done, our husband was so sinful, but somehow or other, he's got the marks of your lotus feet those lotus feet are desired by Brahma and Shiva and Indra and all the great sages, Devala, Vyasa, Asita, Narada. They're all begging to get the touch of your lotus feet. And you've been dancing on the heads of our husband. We don't know what what has he done? He didn't do anything. Right? This is your extreme mercy. You're dancing on his heads. So please save us. Now the only people who can influence the Lord's heart are the Vaishnavas. So Kali was very lucky. His wives were Vaishnavis. So they are praying to Krishna. Only Krishna's heart is moved by the prayers of the Vaishnavas. So he heard the prayers of the Vaishnavas. Meanwhile, Kali, because he vomited all that poison, he got all that envious out of his heart, he also began to understand who he was fighting with. And finally, with all his hoods, he bowed down before Krishna and surrendered to him and begged him for shelter. And Krishna said, all right, but you have to leave the Yamuna, you're poisoning Yamuna. You go to the Brahmyak island. Now Prabhupada explained to us the Brahmyak island is Fiji. Way, way down in the Patala Loka, near Australia and New Zealand, there's an island, or a group of islands, Fiji. And the villagers, the tribals there say that there's a lake with this multi-headed serpent who lives in it. So maybe it's where Kaliya is. You leave here. So he bowed before Krishna. But he said, but then I'll be I'll be living in fear of Garuda. The Lord said, you don't worry about a thing. When Garuda sees the marks of my lotus feet on your hoods, not only will he not attack you, he will worship you. You don't have to worry anymore about Garuda, because now the marks of my lotus, impressions of the lotus feet of my feet are on your head. So then Kaliya moved out. So that was Kaliya God. From Kaliya God next we come to Madan Mohan. Madan Mohan temple, when you're coming on the Prikrama Marg, is very, very beautiful sight. In fact, that site has become the icon of Vrindavan. When you buy your t-shirts in Loi Bazaar, it says I, then there's a heart, and then you see the silhouette of Madan Mohan temple there. It's become the icon of Vrindavan. So what happened was, one time when Sanatana Goswami was in Puri with Mahaprabhu, he told him to go back to Vrindavan, because sometimes he was sending, those days there wasn't WhatsApp and Messenger and all these things, no Facebook. They sent letters by foot. So anyway, Mahaprabhu would send letter that please come to visit me in Puri, like that, so Goswamis would come and go. So he sent letters to Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami came to Puri, and after a while he told him, now you go back to Vrindavan. And I want to come to Vrindavan again, so you find a nice place for me to stay. Another thing, you find out this deity of Madan Mohan. Because Madan Mohan had been lost. But later, Advaita Goswami had come to Braj before Mahaprabhu, many years before Mahaprabhu, and he found that deity underneath a tree. And you didn't go to Advaita Bhatt today, huh? Most enchantingly beautiful deities of Radha Madana Gopal, just below Madan Mohan temple. So you find out that Madan Mohan. So Sanatana Goswami you saw Madan Mohan is on top of a hill. That hill is called Dwadasha Tila. Because after Krishna was in the water in Kaliya's coils for 2 hours, he was a little bit cold and he was wet. So Dwadash Aditya, you can understand Dwadash 12, and Aditya means sun. Another name for the sun is Aditya. So 12 suns appeared in the sky at that place to warm Krishna up and dry him off. So he thought this is a nice place, a reclusive place, quiet place, over beautiful vision of Yamuna. I don't know if you went behind the Madan Mohan temple, you get beautiful, when you're on the Tila there, you get beautiful view of Yamuna like a blue ribbon cutting across Braj. So he said this would be a nice place. So one time when he was doing Madhukari in Mathura, because he heard that Advaitacharya had given him to some Brahmin in Mathura, because that time Vrindavan was all jungle, there was nothing here. There was no temple, hardly any temples. So he gave him to some Brahmin in Mathura named Purushottam Chobe. Because many of the Brahmins of Mathura, they're Chaturvedis, but in Brishbhasa we say Chobe. Yeah? They're big, fat Brahmins like that, Chobes. One lady in Bombay said, you look like just like a Chobe. So, Sanatana Goswami would sometimes go for Madhukari to Mathura trying to find out that Madan Mohan. One day he was going down the lane and he saw this little blackish cowherd boy running down the street, running down the lane and run into somebody's house. So he immediately ran there and he followed that cowherd boy into the house and he saw that it was Madan Mohan. And that Chobeji, he had 3 sons, and the 3 sons, they were playing in the courtyard with Madan Mohan like he was one of their brothers, not showing any special respect to him. And it was early morning. Chobeji's wife, it was cold, so she didn't even take her bath. She just wrapped up some cloth and was cooking. Just like I remember my childhood, my mother just put on her bathrobe and cooked some oatmeal to send us off to school early in a cold morning. Like that, not even putting bath. And with one hand she's stirring, the other hand she has neem twig brushing her teeth. Sanatana Goswami was horrified. I said, what? What are you doing? You can't play with him like he's your brother. This is Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have to show respect. You have to show rule and regulation. What are you doing? You haven't even taken your bath, and you're cooking, and one hand you're brushing your teeth. How you can cook for Lord like this? There's so many rules, and you don't know the rules and regulations of deity worship. So then Purushottam Chobe, he fell on Sanatana Goswami's feet. He said, yes, Gosai, you're right. From now on, we'll follow all the rule and regulation. So then Sanatana Goswami went home. That night in dream, Lord came to him, Madan Mohan came to him. He said, I was living so sweetly with my Chobeji family. Now you put all this rule and regulation, it's no fun. What have you done? So, Sanatana Goswami, next day he went to see Chobeji. He tried to fall on the feet of Chobeji, but Chobeji fell on Sanatana's feet first. And Sanatana Goswami said, whatever I told you yesterday, you forget about it. Whatever service you're doing, Lord is very happy by your service. You continue whatever you're doing. And Chobeji said, look, last night Madan Mohan came in my dream. He says, you have 3 sons to take care of you in your old age. Now the Sanatana Goswami is an old man. He has no one to take care of him. You let me go with him, I will take care of him. So then, Chobeji gave that Madan Mohan deity to Sanatana Goswami. He brought him back, and there was no temple. He was just leaning him up against a tree and worshipping him. And Sanatana was an old man. Whatever he get from his mother, Madhukari means sometimes he just gets some flour, and he collects some, mix it with the Yamuna water, and make some dough, and then he would get some cow dung and dry it out, and he'd make little cow dung. He set his cow dung patties on fire. He'd make little bati, and put the bati in the cow dung with a stick. He'd roll them around in the cow dung fire. Then he'd knock all the black spot off and offer to Madan Mohan. Because at that time there wasn't any MBT restaurant, there was no Govindas, no Bharati foods. So whatever he got, he would offer. And Prabhupada said, then Madan Mohan, he began to cry. Hey Gosai, what are you doing? Every day you offer this old dry bhati. You don't even put any salt. How am I supposed to eat this thing? And so Goswami prayed, what can I do? I'm an old man. Whatever I get, I offer you. And we can't imitate the dealings between the Lord and His pure devotees. He said, first of all, you have to learn that if you're not satisfied with what's easily gotten in life, then you'll never be satisfied. You have to learn to control your senses and be satisfied. That we can't imitate these dealings between Lord and His pure devotees. So Prabhupada explains that Lord Madan Mohan, he had to eat this old dry chapati ball, this old bhati, dry bhati with no salt. He told Lord, look, today you're asking for salt, tomorrow you'll say, oh Gosai, it gets stuck in my throat, can you put a little ghee? Then you're going to want sabji, then you want sweet rice. Well, I'm going to get all these things. If you want to eat like that, then you make arrangement. I'm doing whatever I can do. So Prabhupada said, because Sanatana Goswami was offering with love, then Madan Mohan, he had to eat this old dry bhati with no salt. Just like that, we think we're doing so much service, I'm making so many life members, I'm building so big temple, I'm preaching so much, making so many devotees, I'm doing this, I'm managing the whole temple. Our service is old dry bhati with no salt. But because Krishna, by a blink of his eyes, he can make everyone Krishna conscious. What you're preaching is doing. This old dry bhati with no salt. But because Prabhupada, we see in all his prayers, all his letters, what does he write? I'm always praying to Krishna that you young boys and girls advance in Krishna consciousness. Because Prabhupada is offering our old dry bhati to Krishna, he's accepting our dry bhati service. Otherwise it's nothing. We're very puffed up, we think we're doing so much. But because Prabhupada is offering with love, then Krishna is accepting our useless service that we do. So anyway, one day after that, there was one fellow named Kapoor. We know as soon as we meet somebody named Kapoor, he's from Punjab. So he was sailing down the Yamuna from Punjab to go to Agra. There was a big mela and he wanted to sell all his cargo, all his merchandise in Agra at the mela. And just below Madan Mohan, he got stuck on the sand. He couldn't move his boat. Then he began to cry. And some little cowherd boy was there. He said, on top of this hill, there's one sadhu, maybe he can help you. Because in India, everybody thinks sadhu means yadu. So he went there on top of the hill that brought us into Jatila, and he said, oh Gosai, oh Baba, my boat is stuck. This little cowherd boy here told me you could help me. And so I was, who said? He said, this cowherd boy. And he pointed at Madan Mohan. And Lord said, what can I do? I'm just ordinary Jeev. He's Param Brahm. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You ask him, what can I do? I'm ordinary Jeev. I cannot do anything. Then he looked at Madan Mohan and he saw that the cowherd boy had become a deity. And suddenly his boat floated off just by Lord's will, the boat floated off of the sand. So then he fell at Sanatana Goswami's feet. Oh Gosai, what do you want? You want diamonds, you want pearls, you want gold, you want silver. So I don't want any of these things. No, you must take something. Well, what is your cargo? And Ramdas said, I have salt. Well, then you break off one block, this fellow's always crying for some salt. So he gave a piece of salt big block of salt to Sanatana Goswami. He sailed up to Agra. He arrived just at the high point of the mela. He sold his whole cargo at the highest possible price. He came back, he built that Madan Mohan temple that you see there now, and he arranged for proper bhog offering, and with a very opulent bhog offering to the Lord. But till today, they offer this old dry bhati with no salt. If you're very fortunate, sometime the pujari will give you some of the old dry bhati, or especially if you go to Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi, which is down below Madan Mohan. Because after they offer to Madan Mohan, they offer the Mahaprasad to Sanatana Goswami, you get Maha Bhati. And of course we know Mahaprabhu never came again, but he had asked Sanatana to fix up this place, so this became the first temple in the modern era, Madan Mohan. Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Lal Ki. Then from Madan Mohan, where did you go? Radha Damodar. So Radha Damodar, this was the deity of Srila Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami was the only disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami didn't have any other disciple except Jiva Goswami. And Rupa Goswami, by his own hand, he carved a deity of Damodar and presented it to Jiva Goswami. You want to see that deity? You'll have to go to Jaipur, because all the deities went up to Jaipur. First of all, how these deities came, this is an interesting story. Because we were just at Madan Mohan. We'll go back to Madan Mohan for a minute. Because this municipality known as Vrindavan, Van means forest. The forest of Vrindavan is huge. In the Bhagavatam and in Krishna book, Prabhupada explains, the forest of Vrindavan stretches from the municipality now known as Vrindavan, 24 miles up to Nandagam. That is the forest. It used to be forest. Now it's all farmland, but it used to be forest. And that includes Barsana and Govardhan. Govardhan all in the Vrindavan forest. But this municipality became famous as Vrindavan because this is where Krishna's most famous Leela took place, Rasa Leela. So Krishna's great-great-grandson Bhadranath, when he came here, he wanted to make a special deity for Vrindavan because this is the most famous place. This is where Rasa Leela took place. So he called for Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma, you know, he's the engineer of the demigods. We have any engineers here? Oh, so many. Oh, you're also an engineer. Well, this is the prettiest engineer I know. So, but Vishwakarma, he's the engineer of the demigods. So, he told me to make a very special deity. So he made a deity. At that time there was only one person left on the planet who had seen Lord Krishna face to face. That was Mother Uttara, mother of Parikshit Maharaj. And she was living in Mathura. So they brought Mother Uttara, and when she saw, she said, from the toe to the Kati stall, that is Sakshat Brajananandan Shamsundar. So Bhadranath wasn't satisfied, so he told Vishwakarma, make another deity. When they called Mother Uttara, she said the Vakshasthal, that is Sakshat Brajananandan Shamsundar. So then he told Vishwakarma, make another one. So they made another one, and when Mother Uttara saw this deity, immediately she covered her face. Because Krishna, she's the mother of Maharaj Parikshit. She's the younger Krishna's father, so immediately she covered her face. And she said, this is the Mukha Chandra, this is the moon-like face of Krishna. So that lotus feet, that was Madan Mohan, because he's the deity of Sambandha. To make our connection with Krishna, we worship his lotus feet. The Bhakshasthal, that is Gopinath, that is Prayojana, the full surrender. And the Mukha Chandra, that is Govinda, he's the, what do we say? For service, what? Abhideya. Senior moment. Abhideya. So that Madan Mohan, he's the lotus feet. Lotus feet is the most important part actually. I've seen, our devotees, we like to buy the pictures, we get Radha Shyam Sundar's faces. But I remember one very cultured Bengali gentleman came to our bookstall and he said, "Where's the feet? Where's the feet? I want the picture with the whole feet." Because feet is, we worship first the lotus feet. So that Madan Mohan, he's some deity of Sambandha, and Govindadev is Abhideya, and Prayojana is Radha Gopinath. They all went to Jaipur when the Mughals were attacking Vrindavan, and Jai Singh, he took them all to, along with Damodar also. And Radha Binod also went there to Jaipur. So but now we know Madan Mohan, he's no longer in Jaipur, he's in Karoli. Because one time, the king of Jaipur, he married his daughter, the princess, to the prince of Karoli. So we know the last day, Indian weddings, they go on for days and days. That's why they last. And he said, once you've been through that, you're never going to do it again. In ISKCON, it's just Swaha, Hari Bol, and Mahaprasadi Govinde. But the real Indian wedding goes on for days. Last day is Bidai. So the day before Bidai, princess, she was crying and crying. And the king of Jaipur, he came, he said to his daughter, "Please don't cry, I can't take it. Whatever you want, I'll give you, but don't cry." But she was princess, she knows all the palace intrigue, how to do the things. So she kept quiet. She said, no, whatever you want, I'll give you, please don't cry, don't cry. She kept quiet. So I give my word, whatever you want, I'll give you, please don't cry. See, she was a very clever princess, huh? Now Kshatriya has given his word, he can't go back, huh? If a Kshatriya gives his word, he can't go back. And she said nothing more than, I'm leaving Jaipur, but my Madan Mohan is staying here. She said like that. She didn't say exactly what she wanted, but he could understand. This is palace dealings. So, you want to take my Madan Mohan with you to Karoli? All right, you can take him, but you will have to recognize him blindfolded. Tomorrow we will put all three Thakurjis, Madan Mohan, Gopinath and Govindadev together, and you have to tell which one is your Madan Mohan, then you can take him. So all night long, princess was praying and praying to Madan Mohan. In dream, she fell asleep. In dream, he said, I have broken my flute. You find the Thakurji with the broken flute, then that's me. Now before I knew this story, I went to Karoli, and you see the flute comes like this and goes out like that. You'll see. I can't do it right anyway. Something like that. You can't draw a straight line. I thought it was just some sort of optical illusion. But actually they put half the flute here and half the flute here because he broke the flute. When you go to Karoli, you'll see it like that. Sometimes nowadays they just put half the flute in, but sometimes you see both in. You can't draw a straight line. So in the morning, they blindfolded the princess, and she found the Thakurji with the broken flute, said, this is my Madan Mohan. They made a huge chariot and a big army, and they carried him off to Karoli. So if you want to get Madan Mohan's darshan, you have to go to Karoli. A very beautiful, even bigger temple. I don't know if you saw the new Madan Mohan. You didn't go to new Madan Mohan temple, you just went old one, huh? The next door is a great big temple, but even better than that, with beautiful golden paintings and very wonderful, grand temple is there for Madan Mohan. You can get his darshan there, very wonderful darshan. So, not far from Govindadev temple, you can find the original Damodar made by the hand of Srila Rupa Goswami, given to his Ekmatra disciple, Srila Jiva Goswami. And there you'll also find the Samadhi Mandir of Rupa Goswami facing his Bhajan Kutir. And Prabhupada said the place between those two things is the most spiritual place in the universe. He went around and saw the Samadhis, And of course Prabhupada's rooms are there. Prabhupada said, I eternally reside in Radha Damodar temple. So you probably went there and you saw so very similar. Now of course it's all fixed up and painted. Before it was not so nice. But Prabhupada was staying like that. He had it's not that Prabhupada had so much money, he just booked a ticket on the 787 and flew over to America. He had nothing. All he had was the desire to satisfy his spiritual master. What he was doing was impossible. An old man, 70 years old, translate whole Srimad Bhagavatam, go to America, travel around the world, is impossible. But he was determined to carry out the order of the spiritual master. The order of the spiritual master is so powerful, we can't imagine. Now we just reached the same age as Srila Prabhupada when he started out, and we know what a difficult it is. Prabhupada went on a ship. He got Sumati Murarji to give him not even a luxury ship, just like now they got these big monster luxury ships, and now they're quarantined because of the stupid virus. But Prabhupada was on a cargo ship, an extra passenger room in a cargo ship, and he went. We were flying in nice luxury airplanes, and we get to our place and we just fall asleep, I saw Prabhupada come to Los Angeles, get off the plane, come to the temple and give lecture. We can't imagine what Prabhupada did by following the order of his spiritual master. So those rooms are so simple, and Prabhupada was living there. And his prasad room is on the other side, looking out at the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami came in his dream and told you, don't worry about anything, you just go, we'll take care of everything. And we saw Prabhupada circled the globe 14 times and opened 108 temples. Completely impossible thing. It was done by just the desire to fulfill the order of the spiritual master. So it's very inspiring to sit in those rooms of Radha Damodar. And Prabhupada says, I eternally reside there. So then, I guess getting late, we went to Keshigat. Oh, Radha Raman, Sri Radha Raman Lal Ki. He's one of the few deities that didn't go off to Jaipur. Radha Shamsundar is original and Radha Raman is original. Because he was small, they were able to hide him. Actually, Padmanabh Goswami said they did go to Jaipur, but they went by themselves. Otherwise, the other deities were taken by Jai Singh there. But by themselves they went. They didn't take any money from any king. Whatever they begged, they worshipped Radha Damodar. So they were independent. So when the danger was over, they brought Radha Raman back to Vrindavan. Otherwise, the king of Jaipur, he brought Radha Govinda and everyone there. And we said, why don't they bring him back? He said, he's my guest. How can I tell him to get out of my house? When he wants to go, he'll go. So, Radha Raman, what happened was there was one Gopal Bhatta Goswami who's from Sri Rangam. And Mahaprabhu came there, and for Chaturmasya, he stayed because his Gopal Bhatta's father, Venkata Bhatta, was very clever. He told him, now it's rainy season, the roads will be muddy, the bridges will be washed out. You stay here with me for Chaturmas, 4 months of the rainy season. He's a very clever fellow. He got Mahaprabhu to stay in his house for 4 months. Otherwise, Mahaprabhu never stayed anywhere more than 3 days. Yeah. So anyway, at the end of that, Mahaprabhu told Gopal, you go to Vrindavan and stay there, and meet with Rupa and Sanatana and all of them. So he came to Vrindavan and stayed here and did his bhajan. There's a couple of places around Braj where he stayed. Then there where that Radha Raman temple was, he was sitting under a tree. When Mahaprabhu left, he was feeling so depressed. Although Mahaprabhu told he never leave Vrindavan, he went to Gandaki in Nepal, where the Shalagram Shilas come. Because there's a village there with lots of shal trees. So that village is known as Shalagram. And in that river, the Shilas are found, so they're known as Shalagram Shilas. So he dipped his lota in the water, and when he pulled it out of the water, he was taking his bath, he saw the Shilas were in there. So he dumped them back into the river. He was scooping from the top. Again he scooped, and again he saw these Shilas were there. He dumped them back. Then third time he dipped, he looked, 12 Shilas were there in his lota. He thought, this is third time, this must be something. So he brought all those Shilas back to Vrindavan, and he was worshipping, and somebody came on Nrsimha Chaturdasi, and he was giving nice dresses to all the Goswami's deities. He said, well, I don't have any deity. What can I do with your dresses and jewelry? Nothing. And he was feeling sad, so he read about Nrsimhadev, then he prayed to Nrsimhadev that you please, you protected your devotees, you came out of a stone pillar and protected your devotees, so you please come out of the stone and protect me. In the morning, when he opened up his bag, he was just, when any temples, he was just hanging them in a tree. After taking his bath in Yamuna, he opened up his bag to do his puja, and the Damodar Shila had manifested into this beautiful deity of Radha Ramanlal. So you see Radha Ramanlal ki. By the grace of, what's his name, Chaitanya Avatar, we have these very powerful binoculars he brought for me. You can see the toenails, you can see the fingernails, you can see so many tiny details. You can see between the lips you have a little indentation, right? You can see that. Nobody has carved it. He manifested it. It was impossible to carve so many tiny details and small deity like that. He self-manifests, Swayambhu, deity of Radharaman. And all the Goswamis came, they said, he's got the lotus feet of Madan Mohan, he's got the Vakshasthal of Gopinath, and the Mukhachandra of Gopinath, all three deities in one. So we could say so many things, but anyway, time is running out. With Keshigat, of course, we know one of the last demons that Krishna killed before he went to Mathura was this Keshi demon. He came there on the bank of the Yamuna, and very disrespectfully he began to kick Krishna with his feet, just like now in our temple they prohibit the photos of the deities because everybody comes and takes selfie, puts their back to the deity. And we should never put our back to the Lord, you know. And so not only put his back to the Lord, he began to kick the Lord with his back feet. Then he charged Krishna, and Krishna reached with his left hand, because left hand, for dirty things we use our left hand. So Krishna stuck his left hand in Keshi's mouth, and his hand expanded so big, and Keshi's eyeballs were bulging and bulging and bulging, and this life air popped out of his head, and he was dead. So that is Keshigat. And there's a beautiful palace of the Maharaja Bharatpur. The devotees were originally staying in that palace. Because at that time there was no Krishna Balaram Mandir or anything. They were staying there at that Lake Keshigat, right on the bank of the Yamuna. Okay, so we'll put our voice to rest here. If anybody's interested, we have some of our books. Braj Leela Part 2, 250 pages of nectar and 10 full color pictures. And it's not formal writing, but the way I talk, somebody took some of my lectures and transcribed them into a book. So if anybody wants a copy, you can come up here. We're asking small donation of 400 rupees for our Vrindavan project. And I'm here to sign if anybody wants a copy. Hare Krishna. Sri Vrindavan Dham ki, revealing of the Holy Dham, Srila Prabhupada ki.